Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to today's class.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
We have 27 students, so let's wait another 5 minutes to see if any more joins, and then we'll start the class. Please keep waiting with patience. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We have 33 participants. So I'll start the class. I hope you can see the PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
I've
Yes,
shared.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
wonderful. Okay. Please mute your microphone. Okay, today we'll talk about leaders and leadership.
Sir, should I start recording now?
Yes, please start recording.
Okay.
Has it started?
Not yet, sir.
Why it is taking so long?
I'm not sure, sir. It is taking too long.
Okay, I think
Sir, it has started.
Okay. So today we'll talk about leaders and leadership. In fact, the next two chapters are on leadership. Today I'll define leadership, different theories on leadership. And then in the next chapter, I'll talk about some conceptual issues relating to leadership. Leadership is our bread and butter as managers. We all will be leaders. We will also be managers simultaneously. You'll be leaders because you have been legally appointed by the organization to lead these people, to manage these people. And there is a millennium-old debate about whether leaders are made or leaders are born. We don't want to go into that argument. We are concerned about only the leaders who are made. Because as a manager, the leadership qualities that you primarily need is teachable. This leadership training can be imparted to anyone, and everybody will learn. Maybe the percentage of learning will vary, but everybody will learn. So this is we're talking about trainable leadership qualities. We're talking about managers who have not been elected, but selected and promoted. And you need to have certain qualities to lead these people. If you are elected, people voted for you. So definitely you have qualities, some of them which a managerial leader may not need. And people vote for you and you're elected to be their leader. But in the corporate world, you become bigger and bigger leader as you are promoted, and you lead more number of people. More number of people directly works under you. So, leader is someone who can influence others and who has managerial authority. So there are two parts in this definition. Number one, you must have the ability to influence others. You must be able to tell one of your employee to do something and he is bound to do it. You have that characteristics, that charisma to force people to do what you want them to do, of course, for the betterment of the organization. But simultaneously, you must have managerial authority. You must have a legal appointment to hold that position. And this authority may include the authority to promote someone or to recommend for promotion, recommend for increase of salary, etc., etc., or authority to punish. Very important. So if you must have these managerial authorities, you must also have the ability to influence others. Then you become a leader. This is the leader that we will discuss in the next two chapters. And leadership is what leaders do. In order to influence others, having managerial authority, whatever you do, that is leadership. The process of influencing a group to achieve organizational goals. Ideally, in fact, it is a must that managers should also be leaders. You cannot, if you manage accounts, only papers and numbers, you don't need to be a leader. But if you manage people, you have to be a leader. Although groups may have informal leaders who emerge, those are not the leaders we are studying. So here we will only study managerial leaders. We will not study the leaders who automatically emerge because of the the qualities that individuals may have. Have I shared the story of miners being trapped underground in Peru? Have I shared this story with you?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. You did, sir.
I did.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they were trapped. You remember
Yes,
they
sir.
were trapped, and this miner came up and became their leader, and they organized the food and the water and all the amenities that were available inside the cave, and that's how everybody survived. They could come out alive. So that was a situational leader where that individual, because of his quality, got the leadership because he was leading those people. But we are not talking about these leaders. We are talking about managerial leaders. Leadership research has tried to answer what is an effective leader. They have tried, researchers throughout centuries have tried to define leadership, and they have spent the most amount of time to identify what makes a leader. What are the qualities that a leader has which followers do not have? Is there a set of qualities that makes a leader? And if you don't have any one of them, you don't become a leader. This research is ongoing, and I'll refer some of the outcomes of these research that have been conducted through decades by researchers. First, we'll start talking about the trait theories. There are a number of threes from 1920 to 30. Research focused on identifying personal characteristics that differentiated leaders from non-leaders was unsuccessful. I should write this word in full capital, unsuccessful. So all the research till today could not find out certain number of qualities that will definitely ensure that you become a leader. It is very confusing. Some leaders have some very good qualities and may not have some other qualities, but still he becomes a very popular leader. Someone having not that much of quality, Donald Trump, I don't think he has the ability to run a country like USA and give matured, thoughtful decisions. But again, he was very popular. He won with a large margin against Hillary Clinton. And in this election, he's still very popular. Joe Biden, in the history of US election, from the first election ever, Joe Biden obtained the highest vote. And from the independence of USA till date, Donald Trump got the second highest vote so far. Although he was defeated, this was the second highest vote any presidential candidate, whether he won or lost, ever got. So you understand how popular he still is. So, if you compare the qualities of Donald Trump, traits of Donald Trump with traits of, Barack Obama, you'll find a lot of difference. But, okay, Barack Obama as an administrator, maybe he was more successful. But Donald Trump is still very popular after his 4 years of, but you see, there is no specific number of qualities that actually defines a leader. But, however, they have summarized a number of traits or qualities, 7, which a leader should be having. There can be exception with some leaders not having one or two or more of these here. But in general, a leader should have these qualities. This was almost common in the study of all the leaders. These certain 7 qualities, small or a little more varying, but it's available in a leader's quality. All the leaders they have studied. Number 1, a leader should have drive. Drive. I said before that English word is very confusing. There will be words which are spelled the same, sounds the same, but has different meaning. I gave you an example of ring. Drive is another one. Drive is driving. That is drive. But here, drive is a is a quality, is a characteristics. Drive means it's a high level of energy in a person. Always trying to take initiative. This is what is drive. They have the relatively high desire for achievement and are ambitious. They have a lot of energy. They are timeless, persistent in their activities, and they show initiative. So a leader usually has these qualities. You can think of any leader, and if you see that they have a lot of energy, they take a lot of initiative. Of course, if that person is a good leader, he or she, then a leader must have the desire to lead. If you don't want to be a leader, inside you, in common, people enjoys leadership. It's addictive. People spends all their savings to be elected to the parliament, to become a member of parliament or become a mayor or something. Election is addictive. People who has been attracted by this addiction of leadership, they'll pursue and strive throughout their lives, to lead people. So it's very addictive. And when you become a leader, there is a special energy that comes inside you. I remember when late President Zillur Rahman was taking oath. It was broadcasted on television, all news live, and he was looking very pale, very weak. He was not looking stable. But as soon as he took over as president, in the subsequent few months, ultimately he expired. May Allah bless his soul and grant him Jannah. But after the oath, gradually he seemed to be more, strong. He could walk by himself. He was more confident in speaking, and because leadership, this gave a certain energy probably inside him. So leader must have the desire to lead. You must want to lead. Leaders have a strong desire to influence and lead others. They demonstrate the willingness to take responsibility, and leaders should take responsibility. And they must have the hunger, the thirst of enjoying the way he leads people. Honesty and integrity, a very important trait. This is, for a short period of time, you can bluff people. For a short period of time, you can bluff anyone. But so many eyes on you, you'll not be able to hide the vices that you have. And if you're not honest, if your integrity is questionable, if you're not impartial, you lose popularity. People will lose respect for you. You'll not have any respect amongst your employees, and ultimately you will be a failed leader, and this will lead to failed management. If your employees do not trust you, if your character is questionable, you'll not be able to either reward them or punish them. You'll not be able to control them ultimately, and this cannot be hidden for long. Self-confidence, very important for leaders. You have to be confident. In utmost confusing situation, people will seek decision from you as leader, and it may be a matter of life and death. For us, it's a matter of life and death, and within a fraction of a second, you have to give the right decision. If you're not confident, you'll not be able to give the right decision. And even if it is a wrong, or not a wrong, but not the 100% correct decision, maybe it is 70% correct, but quick response is necessary. That's why your 70% correct answer is the correct answer, and you should express it with confidence. People must not sense any hesitation in you. Whenever you pass an instruction or policy, you must be confident, so that whoever is the audience, the employees do not grow a question in their mind that whether my leader is confused about this policy or not. So self-confidence in any situation, you're supposed to be confident. Once in Chittagong Hill Tracks, I was a young subaltern serving in Chittagong Hill Tracks once, and there were many situations where, although you're a young officer, 21, 22 years of age, and you have, you know, soldier who are much older than you going out with you in a patrol. And when there was a time to get a decision, they would all ask you. And you had to be confident in any situation, in the corporate world, in the factory. An accident happens, a fire breaks out, or a machine explodes, or a very vital manager, resigns. Any emergency can occur, and in those situations, whoever is responsible must remain calm and display self-confidence in resolving the issue. You have to be intelligent to be a leader. If you're not intelligent, you'll not be able to read your employees properly. You'll not be able to give the right. Intelligence is a must everywhere. Even in the most physical games and sports, if you don't apply intelligence, you can never win. Bowling is a game of skill. You have to bowl properly. The batsmen have to bat correctly with the right posture. The fielders have to practice in catching, catches and saving the fours and all. But can any team win a cricket match without planning, without proper application of the forces that you have by using your intelligence and to understand how the opponent is likely to play and how to counter their game? So intelligence is applicable everywhere, and as a leader, it is of much greater importance. You must have the job related knowledge, at least more than anyone working under you. Here again, you lose self respect if you don't have. And you'll not be a good organization will not put a manager in a position where he is not capable of working. This undermines the authority of the organization. So you'll go through the proper training, proper time, serve at lower positions, and when you mature, you'll be able to take over the job which needs more manpower. So you must have knowledge. Any situational question that is put towards you, you must have the answer. You must have the solution to any kinds of eventuality that can occur in your floor or in your department, and you can give the correct decision because you have enough experience, enough wisdom on that particular topic. Extraversion, a leader has to a manager may need to brief the chairman of the organization or may need to brief the minister if it is necessary. He may also talk to someone who speaks in colloquial manner. So any group of people coming from different backgrounds, a leader must have. If you want to be a leader, you'll try to talk with these group of people that you are talking with your employees, with your colleagues, with your superiors is an important part of your job, and that is why a leader should have some amount of extroversion in him. So these are the seven traits that is mostly common in any leader, and we want managers, all of you who are pursuing an MBA degree, to have and master these traits. Behavioral theory, University of Iowa. This study was done by Kurt Lewin, and in this study they have identified three leadership styles, and we are all oriented with this three leadership style: autocratic style, democratic style, and laissez-faire style. Autocratic style, where the control is centralized, the authority is centralized, a single person or a ring of people decides everything, and participation of the majority of the people are not heard in this situation. Now, before I start defining these three, I must mention that this research also identified that no style is better than the other. Do not think just by the definition I gave of autocratic style that this is a bad style of leadership. Democratic style is the better style of leadership. We'll come to that later. So autocratic style says that the authority is centralized and participation is low, but it does not say that you will not look after the interest of your country, interest of your people. Everything must be done transparently, honestly. These are all there, but the authority is centralized, and they don't want to listen to all the people. They just want to take decision on whatever they feel is right. That is autocratic style. There is serious possibility of misusing the power, maybe, if government has an autocratic style. We'll talk about that later. Well, let's talk about it now. Autocratic style. Malaysia was Singapore, Lee Kuan. It was a military state. He was an autocratic leader, and no excuse, no mercy for corrupt people. I heard a story. I cannot guarantee whether it's true or not. One of his ministers allegedly received a Rolex watch from a Japanese company, and Lee Kuan came to know about it. And he called his minister and he said that either you take your life or I will make this news public tomorrow. And that night, that minister, allegedly committed suicide. But many years later, the story came out. He ran the country with a iron rod, and see where Singapore has gone. If you compare the GDP of Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, in some cases, our GDP was better. However, Bangladesh is also growing fast. We just entered into the developing stage status. The growth is almost double digit every year. Huge achievement and Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad, he ran the country, in an autocratic style. And I have visited Malaysia, every after a couple of years, and every time I go, everything looks new to me. The speed in which they have, developed. Stalin um, was the, what is they called? During the Cold Era, he was the president of Russia. It used to be called chairman or something. And, after he gave his first speech, inaugural speech, people claps after a speech, and people kept on clapping for 1 hour. This clapping went on for 1 hour. Can you just imagine you standing and clapping for 1 hour? Maybe you'll try it after this lecture, and you'll find how exhaustive it is. It will be like running 10 miles. And you know why it continued for one continuous hour? Because in the audience, probably there were 10,000 members of the Communist Party in that hall. And everybody thought that I don't want to be identified as the first person who stopped clapping. That's why everybody kept on clapping, because maybe if he's identified as the first person who stopped clapping, maybe he'll be shot and killed the next day. That much of autocratic power Stalin um, is to implement. So that is again a negative part of autocratic style. So each style has examples of a very good way of running a country and a very bad way. Mahathir Mohamad had a block in his heart, and he went to the hospital, and the doctors said that you need to have a bypass operation, and we have to take you to either Thailand or India or USA, some places. And Mahathir Mohamad said, why? Government issues so much of budget for the Ministry of Health. Why Malaysia cannot have this operation? And the doctor said that we don't have that ability. It will take at least 2-3 years to send some people to train those people and to bring in the machines, because bypass surgery is probably a very difficult surgery, and it's not only the doctor. We need nurses who need to be trained on doing that. And Mahathir Mohamad said that I'll wait till Malaysia is capable of conducting this operation. If I die, I die. Being the prime minister of this country, I don't want to go abroad for treatment. I want this treatment to be available in my country, and I'll come. And after 3-4 years, I think they had the capability, and Mahathir Mohamad had the operation in Malaysia, and he survived. It was during his first tenure. And this guy, over 90 years old, and I was listening to one of his. Can you all hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I, I,
sir.
tell,
Yes, sir.
I tell a lot of stories, but because these stories are very interesting, and these stories have a lot of message for you. I just hope that you can pick up the signals from these stories, and I hope you're not bored by these stories, because I think these stories are you don't get these in any books, and this is all about organizational behavior, and this is the way I learned. When I did my MBA, most of the classes there, except on a very technical or numbers subject, the faculty members used to teach in this fashion. Lot of examples, and and that is why everything is attosto bangla jeta bole. Everything is in my mind. Whenever I see a slide, I think of what my professor said, and I try to recollect. I try to change some of the examples, bring it closer to Bangladesh, and things like that. The teaching style, USA, I tell you, you may have a lot of reservation about the way they look at the world, or the way they run the country, and things like that. And the people say that China is coming up, their economy is #1, and I said that China will need another 100 years to reach some basic fundamental arenas where US is leading. For example, teaching. And I did my MBA in University of South Florida. It is, you can say, second grade university, because you can consider Ivy League to be a leading group of university, and Stanford and few others, Georgia Tech and all that. But University of South Florida also a very good university. Second grade, it's actually a first grade, but not as like, for example, when I did my MBA in USA, you need to give the what is that? GMAT exam. I don't think it's a necessity or a requirement in Bangladesh, but there you need to appear a GMAT online, and you have to score a certain amount of marks to be eligible to do MBA, depending on what university you're going. And doing that, when I did it, like in Harvard, the GMAT requirement was 600. And in my University of South Florida, it was 550, which is also very high. It goes even down to 300. GMAT is a very interesting exam, and unless you're really good, you'll not score good. It's so wisely designed. There are math, and there are general knowledge, IQ, English, etc., etc. But for example, you're preparing the math exam. They give you a question, you answer it. If you answer it correctly, again, it's multiple choice. If you answer it correctly, the next question will be a bit more difficult. If you can answer that correctly, the third one will be even more difficult. And if you make a mistake, it will gradually become easier. So in GMAT, actually, how many questions you correctly answered is not equal to how many marks you get. It actually also the hardness, difficulty of the question, that is also taken into consideration. So autocratic style, first time I landed in Singapore, I think it was back in 1990. 90 or 91, and from the airport I took a taxi, and we were headed towards the city, and I'm a smoker, sorry to say, and so I, not a long flight, but I did not smoke for some time, so I boarded the taxi, and as I was lighting the cigarette, I was telling the driver, I hope you don't mind, I want to smoke. As soon as he heard it, he just slowly parked at the side of the road, and he sighed for 2 minutes as if he was saved. And he said that, I was so afraid, if a police catches you smoking in my taxi, they will fine me around 6 months of salary, and I have to pay it tomorrow. So that is how people were afraid of the law. We also have laws, but we don't have implementation of these laws because of poor policing, or people's lack of people's respect to the law. There are many reasons behind it. Democratic style, its own high participation and feedback. Leaders are directly elected, or follows a different system to elect by individual votes, the leaders. And in this system of government, everybody's opinion. First of all, you vote. That is your opinion. You choose a leader, and even in other major projects or decisions, the public has a say in it. Democratic and democratic style is again of many forms. The best definition of democracy was given by Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of USA. And during his time, when the Civil War was fought, the southern states of USA were fighting to keep the system of slavery alive, and the northern states were fighting for equal right. And it was a bloody war, and hundreds and thousands of people died. India has Bangladesh has a unicameral democratic system of government. We have one. Just a minute. I'm getting a call over and over. I'll just take 2 minutes off. unicameral. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So we have a single parliament. There is no parliament in the divisions or districts. In India, they have a tricameral. They have a upper house and a lower house federally in the central government, and then they have the again an upper lower house in the states. And USA they have bicameral, the Senate and the Congress. And Senate is they have their forefathers were so wise in writing their constitution. Um, um, a senator, two senators are elected from each state. So the USA has 50 states, so they have 100 senators. And two senators per state, irrespective of how large the state is or how much population they have. Each state will have two senators. So in this Senate, upper house, it's equal right of all 50 states. But in the lower house, in the Congress, here the number of seats per state is proportionate to the population. Probably California has the highest number of Congress person, probably around 50 or 40. Florida has around 20 or 19. Smaller states, there are even states having only one Congress person from that state. Now, some state having 47 or 50, and some states have one. So there are states which has one congressperson but two senators. Again, there are states which has 40 congressperson and two senators. So in the lower house, it is the voice of the people, and that is why some states have more. So that's a system there. And in USA, the federal government basically controls defense and foreign relations, security of state. And other aspects are basically looked after the state government. A governor is elected and he's actually the president of that state. The central government do not have much power in that. And again, in Liberia, when I did a mission there, there the system of election was the type of election that we follow in Bangladesh is first past the goal. Whoever gets one vote more than the rest wins. That is the system. In the US presidential election, again, it's very confusing. I think if you have followed, they have electoral votes. And here again, each state has certain number of electoral votes based on the population. And in some states, if you get majority, you get all the electoral votes. In some states, you get exactly how many electoral votes you get. And it's a complicated system. You have to get this number of. But in Liberia, they followed the absolute majority system. In this absolute majority system, somebody has to win an election. To win an election, he has to obtain minimum 50% of the vote. So 50% of the total vote casted plus one vote, then he wins. Now, if there is 10 candidates and nobody gets more than 50%, nobody is elected. In the first round of election, then the person who got the highest vote and the person who got the second highest vote, second round of election is held between two persons. And when there are two candidates only, somebody will definitely get more than 50% of the casted votes. And in Liberia, the Western powers have actually designed this system. Why? Because that time, George Weah, the footballer, now he's the president, was trying to become the president. He was a very popular footballer. He was footballer of the year many years. And Shirlene Johnson, Dr. Shirlene Johnson, who did her higher education in USA. USA and the Western government was wanting her to become the president. So when in the first round of election, besides George Weah and Shirlene Johnson, they forced another 20% to go for election. And in the first round of election, George Weah obtained 43% of the vote, or plus minus. And Shirlene Johnson only obtained 37% vote or something. So nobody got more than 50%. So there was a second round of election between George Weah and Shirlene Johnson. And in the second round, people were taught that George Weah is uneducated. He's a football player. He cannot run a country. She is educated. She has all the experience. And people voted for her, and she marginally won the election. And then there are countries which are running absolutely fine through the democratic system. They're prospering, they're growing. Again, in some countries, democracy is not as expected. Laissez-faire style is the style, it's hand-off management. This is a management where you don't actually have any style. You allow everybody to do whatever they want. And this is only feasible, or it is only possible where there is a group of people who are highly capable of doing their job, and small number of people. Here nobody has to tell anybody to do anything. Everybody knows what has to be done. They are all qualified in their field, and in that situation only you can follow the laissez-faire style, because you cannot run a country following a laissez-faire style. You cannot say that anybody can do anything that they want. There will be no law and order. Crime will increase, and there will be many other problems. But for example, you're running a science lab, you're doing a research there, and you have 10 scientists working. In that situation, you don't have anything to manage these scientists. These scientists are already half-mad people. They only want to conduct the research and discover something new. And they'll do whatever they can to identify or discover something. You don't have to tell them what to do. In that situation, laissez-faire style may be applicable. The findings of this theory, no specific style was consistently better for producing better performance. So, you cannot say that one style is better than the other. It depends on the follower, the type of people, type of environment, type of background, type of education level, and the situation itself. Which type of leadership would be? Some people says that benevolent autocracy is most appropriate for Bangladesh. Or benevolent dictatorship, autocracy, but being benevolent in nature, being kind to the people, because in some cases we are not respectful to the law and the policies, and you need to deal with these people strictly. But again, you have to look after the welfare of the people, the growth of the people, the life of the people. Employees were more satisfied under a democratic leader than an autocratic leader. However, although they could not identify any style which is better than the other, but they have identified that at least employees are more happier in a democratic leader, under a democratic leadership style. It does not say that they were successful, but they were more comfortable, more satisfied. Ohio State also did a study on behavioral theories, and they identified two dimensions of leadership behavior: initiating structure and consideration. Initiating structure, these are mostly the same thing, and different research have defined them differently. They have used different words to explain them. This is the role of the leader in defining his or her role and the roles of the group members. So in initiating structure, in this dimension, a leader should teach the employees what has to be done, how they should work, how they should reach the goal. And consideration is the leader's mutual trust and respect for group members' ideas and feelings. So you teach them what has to be done, how it has to be done. But again, you also take the opinion of others. You also have consideration for the people. You have trust, and they have trust on you. You have mutual respect, a relationship of mutual respect between both of you. And here also the result was high leader, generally, leader who has high initiating structure and high consideration, but not always achieve high group task performance and satisfaction. So a leader having high level of initiating structure and consideration is generally, but not always, in some cases they don't achieve high group task performance and satisfaction. Evidence indicated that situational factors appeared strongly influence leadership effectiveness. So here, these two factors are important, but ultimate outcome of the result of leadership will be influenced by the particular situation prevailing in that country or in that place. Michigan studies identified two dimensions: employee oriented and production oriented. They identified two leadership traits of a manager. One is your concern for the employees, emphasizing personal relationship with the employees and their welfare. And second is production oriented, emphasizing task accomplishment. So you as a manager, you have basically two things to do. You have to maintain a good relationship with the employees, have trust and mutual respect between them, and you have to look after your employees. And side by side, you also have to ensure that you meet the goal to fulfill the overall goal of the company. You fulfill the production target set or whatever task that has been given to you. So you have to simultaneously do both. And here also the research findings are leaders who are employee oriented are strongly associated with high group productivity, and high job satisfaction. So here they have a definite result. Here they say that if you think that if you are more production oriented, your company will prosper and grow. But here they said that no, if you are actually employee oriented, you're likely to have more production and satisfaction. So if you're, you have some, majority of your concentration is for the employees and their welfare and their growth. Ultimately, they'll produce more and the company will benefit. Managerial grid. Let me explain it in this graph. Can you all see it? Can you see the slide?
Yes.
The graph. It's
Can I
very
connect?
So if you zoom it a little bit more, because the writings are too small.
Okay.
yes, sir.
I was afraid that or maybe use a magnifying glass later. So here, in the managerial grid, 5 types of leadership styles have been described. This line going up vertical is your concern for people. It's your concern for your employees. And the horizontal line going at the bottom from here towards the right, this is concern for production. And based on this grid, there are 5 tiles of leadership. The one here, very low concern for people and very low concern for production. It is called an impoverished management. Impoverished is someone who is malnutritious, do not have enough vitamin, enough fat, enough meat and skin on their body. Sick style of management, because you neither have any concern for people, you neither have any concern for production, and where this company will end up. It is impoverished management now, it will be a dead management soon. Now if you come to the extreme right bottom, this is called task management. So it's 9.1, 9 for task production and 1 for concern for people. So this kind of management is too much task oriented, doesn't have any concern for people. Temporarily maybe your production will increase, but in the long run it will reduce because your employees will become dissatisfied and they'll not give their best. So task management is 9.1, only concern, full concern for production, no concern for people. If you go to the top left, 1.9, where you have full concern for people, 9 out of 9, but only 1 out of 9 concern for production. And it is called a country club management. Country club management. What are country clubs? Kormitola Golf and Country Club. This is a place where people have party, have food, enjoy themselves, relax. Clubs are meant to provide entertainment to its members. So a management, an organization is supposed to turn into a club, and it's supposed to fail. You'll not be able to fulfill the goal or reach the goal. It's called country club management. Now at this center is the middle of the road management, where you have 50% concern for people and 50% concern for production. So this is a workable management system where you have some concern for people and some concern for production. So any type of leadership around here is okay, it's doable. Now at the top right corner is the team management, where you have full concern for people, you also have full concern for production. This is the best type of management. Best of the best companies, the world leading companies, follow this team management system, where they have simultaneously full concern for production and also full concern for people. So they're innovating, introducing better equipment, better apparatus, better machines, better goods to the market. And again, all the employees are happy and satisfied, and they don't want to leave that organization because of the benefit and other facilities that are provided. So this is team management. So any type of leadership style in this area will be good, because they will have some bit of concern for production and people both. Fiddler model, another very popular model, which proposes that effective group performance depends upon the proper match between the leader's style of interacting with followers and the degree to which the situation allows the leader to control and influence. Now, here what Fiedler said is a leader may be great. He may have all the qualities that a leader must have, but his qualities should match with the followers. The followers should appreciate and like those qualities. It should match with their characteristics, and also the particular situation prevailing at that time. We can talk about many great leaders. Abraham Lincoln. He Gettysburg speech was the speech given by Abraham Lincoln after the Battle of Gettysburg, when which ended the Civil War, and you know, the Northern government under Abraham Lincoln won the war, and he gave this speech. Part of that speech is, government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall. So this is a part of that one page, one of the famous speeches. In this course, I'll give you a tasking on great speeches. I'll talk about that later. So he was a great president during the civil unrest, during the civil war. He may have failed as a president if he came in a different time, because in that situation, what people wanted, maybe he was the best leader for that situation there. During the Second World War, FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, was the president of USA, and he is the only president in the history of USA who was president for 3 terms, although he could not finish his third term. When USA got independence, there was no policy in the constitution that you can only you become president for 2 terms, not more than that. After finishing the 8th year, George Washington was the first president. He, voluntarily stepped down and said that enough is enough. You elect another president. And from then onwards, it became a law that the president can only be president for 2 terms. And it was introduced by the first president. George Washington, after independence, he could have become the king of USA, or he could have remained president till his death. But he voluntarily stepped down after 2 terms, and this system became up. FDR was the president of USA, and why? Because Second World War was ongoing still when he finished his second term, 8th year, and the people decided, no, this president must continue and see the end of Second World War. But ultimately he died, but FDR had paralysis; his legs were not functional. I don't know if you know that he ruled the USA and led the Second World War sitting on a wheelchair. But still he gave vital decisions, and he progressed the war, supported the war in a fashion that ultimately the Allied forces won the election. For that situation, he was the best president. So the situation, Lee Kuan was the best president for prime minister or president of Singapore during that infant stage of Singapore. Maybe he would not have been such a success if he was the president today. Maybe he would have been, but situation will dictate, and the followers. But Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, led this country to victory, and he was such a powerful speaker. He could unite the entire nation to fight against the occupying forces, and ultimately we got independence. So he had all the characteristics. At that time, everybody was following him, and he led the country to independence. So the situation will dictate, will have an influence on the outcome of the leader, the people's attitude, the followers' attitude. This is what Fiedler actually wanted to say. A certain leadership style should be most effective in different types of situations. So again, here it advocates that the same style will not be successful in different situations. Each situation will need a unique kind of leadership. And somebody who is a very good leader will be able to slightly adjust their leadership style to accommodate and to adjust to the requirement of the people. Our leaders do not readily change leadership style, and this is another thing. Matching the leader to the situation or changing the situation to make it favorable outcome of this research. They said that usually a leader has certain types of qualities, and it's very difficult for that leader to change his qualities. Maybe adjust it a little bit, but he cannot make major changes. So whenever in a company, for example, a Pepsi Cola, in a company, if the company fails to achieve the target for a year or could not meet or fulfill the goal, they don't fire everybody. They only fire the chief executive officer, and they want to, and they see that why they have failed to obtain the goal. What is the situation prevailing now? What type of leader we need to lead Pepsi Cola now to again, gain a profit? And then they identify individuals having that leadership quality and they hire them. So they just change the head. The rest of the body remains, because leaders cannot actually change their style. This is what they are trying to say. So that is why, this time Joe Biden won with the highest number of votes, because those who do not like Donald Trump did not want to take a chance. People who never came out to vote, they said that no, this time, in Georgia, Democrats never won. It is always the Republicans who win. Although Georgia has a large number of African American population community there, but they never went out to vote. But this time they said that no, we have to go and vote. We must not allow Donald Trump to come back, and that's when Joe Biden won in Georgia, the ultimate state that gave the decision. So people came out to ensure that I get. Hillary Clinton lost the election because many Democratic supporters thought that she will automatically win. She's running against a mad guy. We don't have to vote. Even if we don't go out, there will be many others who will vote for Hillary Clinton and she will win. And ultimately, she lost. Hersey and Blanchard gave a situational leadership theory. Here, they argue that successful leadership is achieved by selecting the right leadership style, which is contingent on the level of the followers' readiness. This is similar. It has some similarity with the Fielder model. Here, what these two gentlemen are trying to argue is that, the leadership, successful leadership is achieved by, selecting the right leadership style, which matches with the followers' readiness. How ready are the followers? Are the followers sacrifice their lives? Are the how? For example, Mahatma Gandhi started his political life in South Africa. I don't know if you know this. You can watch a movie called Gandhi. It was created, 4 5 decades back. Ben Kingsley acted in the role of Gandhi. He's an English actor, and he went through a year of yoga exercise just to make his figure look like Gandhi's figure. And when I watched the movie, I could not really differentiate whether this is actually Mahatma Gandhi or this is Ben Kingsley. The name of the movie is Gandhi. Anybody has seen this movie, Gandhi? Anyone? Anyone has seen the movie Gandhi?
Maybe so.
No, sir, but I'm quite familiar with the history.
Oh. Now, we are all familiar, but it's a very interesting historical movie, although the history is not fully correct because it was a more pro-Indian sort of philosophy, and they showed some of the leaders a bit negatively. But it was a very interesting movie. Why did I tell the story of Gandhi here? Anybody remembers? Yeah, and he started his political life in South Africa. Are you listening to me? নাকি আমি কথাই বলে যাই and you are connected and you just leave and do your things? Sudipto,
No, sir, we're listening.
No, sir, we listen to you.
do you can you learn something from whatever I tell you or the stories that I share? Is it useful?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, absolutely, sir.
So it is much more interesting to hear stories rather than just going through theories.
Okay, now but we're learning something through these stories. Don't bother. And there he started his fight in South Africa. He was a lawyer and he went into a train in the first class and they kicked him out and said that this is only for whites. And he started the what is the non-violence movement in South Africa, where police used to come. They used to defy the order and stand, but did not fight. And police used to come and beat them up. And he had A large group of colored people, Indians and other who are not white, supporting him. He knows how dedicated these followers are. And he could stand in the front, he's beaten, he falls down, and the next line falls down, and he has a huge number of people still following him. So, how prepared the followers are for doing something, that will dictate what type of leader you need to bring in. How that leader, what type of leadership style is most useful in that particular situation. And this followers readiness is acceptance and readiness. Leadership effectiveness depend on whether followers accept or reject a leader. In this theory, they said that leaders have to be accepted by the followers, unless even in the managerial condition in the office, you are the deputed manager, you are the legal manager, and the employees have no other option to accept you, but they may not accept you from their heart. They may reject you in your heart. Official capacity, they may accept you. Readiness is the extent to which followers have the ability and willingness to accomplish a specific task. So you are given a task, and you have been given a force, maybe 100 people or 50 people, and you have been told to do something. Now you cannot your hand. You need these 100 people to, and their skill will actually result in the outcome. If they are skillful to do it, you'll become a successful manager. And if there is not enough time, you'll not be able to. Four specific leadership styles incorporating one is task oriented and one is relationship people oriented. He defined the first one as telling this group they are high at task and low at relationship. So you can actually compare this with the grid, managerial grid. I said that things will be repeated. Different people have done different research on different times, and the definition and the words they use may be different. So a leader who has more concern for production, that is high task, but role relationship is called telling. Selling is high task, high relationship. This is the team management in the managerial grid. You have concern. Participating is low task, high relationship. This is the country club management, where very low task but high relationship concerns. And delegating is low in both. This is the impoverished management style of the managerial grid. Now, this is very important for you as managers to understand. You have to understand and read your employees. What stage are they in? In this Hershey and Blanchard situational leadership theory, they have, given 4 stages of, employees or followers readiness. R1 state is when the followers are unable and unwilling. Followers are unable, neither they can do the job or they want to do the job. So this is quite a bad group of people, because they don't know how to do it and they don't also want to know how to do it. They're unwilling to do it. It's better that you fire this group of people, or if you can motivate them and change them. Followers who are unable but willing, this is comparatively better. They are unable now, but they're willing to learn, they're willing to do it. So if you teach them, they will be able to do it. Followers who are able but unwilling, I think this is the worst group. People who can do it but they don't want to do it, and you cannot fix these people. It's better that you fire them. And the last group is R4. This is the best group, who are able and who are also willing to do it. Path goal model. This is also a very famous leadership model. This states that the leader's job is to assist his or her followers in attaining their goals and to provide direction or support to ensure their goals are compatible with organizational goals. So in this state, in the path goal model, it advocates that the leader, he help the job and to fulfill the goal of the company by giving direction, by supporting him, working with him, and ensuring that goals are met. Here, the leader just have to remember, keep in mind that whatever task that is being given to the employee must be within their capability. If it is beyond their capability, they will not be able to do it. And as per path goal model, leaders assume different leadership styles at different times depending on the situation. So based on the situation, the same leader may be following any of the 4 styles. A directive style is for absolutely novice who does not know what has to be done. You direct them, you tell them, go right, go left, sit down, stand up, extend your right hand, hold your nose. You have to tell them every step. You direct them to do what has to be done. But if you try to employ directive leadership style on someone who knows the job, that's a bad style, because he'll be irritated. He'll say that I know what has to be done. You don't have to tell every sentence. Supportive style is the next style, that you have given direction, they have learned it a little bit, and you support them to learn. You provide your moral support, your physical support, so that he can perform his job. Participating leadership is, when the leader themselves participates. In the armed forces, when we go and attack the enemy, the leaders are lead by being at the front, and they do all. They do it together. They participate as part of the force. So participative leadership is for, you be a part of the team. You're the leader, of course, but the football captain of the football team or the cricket team, they are participative leader. They are the leader of the team, but again they are playing. If they are a bowler, they will bowl. If they are a wicket keeper, they will man the wicket. If they're a batsman, they will score. So any captain of a sports team is a participative leader. An achievement oriented leader, at times you may have to also adopt this style, where the company is falling behind in achieving the target, likely to get bankrupt. So you need to concentrate on achievement, concentrate on production, and for brief periods, temporary periods, you may adopt the achievement oriented leadership style as well. Transactional leadership and transformational leadership, very two famous styles of leadership. All these leadership styles and theories are similar. I'm sure you're getting confused listening to whatever I'm saying. But after this class, take your time, go back, and you try to go through it. There are a lot of similarities, but again, there are a lot of differences as well. Transactional leadership is leaders who guide or motivate their followers in the direction of established goals by clarifying roles and task requirement. So in this style, the leader, they clarify the roles. They tell, okay, A, you have to do this, B, you have to do this, C, you have to do this. And this is how you will do it. This is the requirement that you have to fulfill. And they just don't just tell it once. They keep on telling them, reminding them. These are the transactional leaders. Now, what is transformational leaders? These leaders inspire the followers to transcend, to come down and enter, forget about their own interest. The employee should forget about their own self-interest for the good of the organization by clarifying role and task requirement. Here, the leader is more involved with the employees. They inspire the employees to give maximum for the company. They inspire and motivate the employees to give less importance to their personal needs and give more importance for the good of the organization. And to do that, what role, what task someone has to do, and what is his task requirement. So here in transformational leadership, this is more applicable where systems are still weak. It's a new organization, new country. The leaders have to be involved throughout, spiritually, morally, to lead the country. So this is what is transformational leadership. Charismatic leader, charismatic leader. The definition, the word is very favorite to me, and and the definition and the word itself defines what is this style of leadership. A charismatic leader will have a lot of enthusiasm. They will have self-confidence. They will have a unique personality. People will be attracted towards their personality. People will be attracted to listen to them. People will be attracted to follow whatever they have said. Actions influence people to behave in certain ways. So charismatic leaders have certain magnet. I can name many charismatic leaders. And charismatic leader, whether that leader is a charismatic leader or not, this will also vary from people to people. To me, if a leader is charismatic, to someone else he may not be charismatic. There are certain characteristics of charismatic leaders. Charismatic leaders will have a vision. They'll be able to see the future. They will be able to predict what is coming ahead, and prepare accordingly. And there and not only that they have a vision, they can also share this vision with the follower, the employees. They can articulate or say or explain the vision in a manner that everybody believes him. And this belief of knowing the future, what has to be done, has to be transmitted into the followers. People must, and they have this capability, are willing to take risks to achieve the vision. Charismatic leaders are always, risky players. They'll take risks. They'll take, and if it goes wrong, if it goes wrong, he will have to face the consequence, but he doesn't care. Charismatic leaders do not fear. They think that taking risk is a part of being successful. And again, many examples can be given of leaders taking risk and bringing a country to a certain level. South Korea, where South Korea has gone, and although they had some cases of corrupt leadership, but instantly they were punished. They were sent into the jail. When I got married in 1993, we wanted to buy a refrigerator, freeze. And my mother and Murubbi Jara Chilo, they said that you must buy a Calvinator fridge or a Philip fridge, because other they are full of Chinese and other country fridges in the market. Do not buy them; these are bad. And with the budget that I had, we went to Baitul Mukarram and we start looking. Me and my wife, we were looking for a fridge, and we saw that Calvinator and Philips are quite expensive. The size of the fridge that we can buy with the budget, we can buy fridge 3 times larger than that, but not Philips or Calvinator. And then we were strolling and we saw a Samsung fridge sales showroom, and we entered big fridges, and they were saying that this is a Korean model. It's called Samsung. It's new in the market. It's good. You can buy it. It's very cheap. And then we took a risk. I told my wife, let's take a risk. With this small budget, we cannot take Calvinator and fridge. Let's buy a Samsung. And we bought this Samsung fridge. And it was in 1990. And I used this fridge for 17 years. And in 2010, when I went to USA for 3 years, I sold the fridge, I think 1,000 taka more than the price that I bought it, because and as far refrigerators are concerned. And now in the market, I think Samsung fridges are, I think, one of the most expensive fridges because of the quality. And they whatever they're doing, Kia cars, Hyundai Sonata was the car that I used to drive in USA. Such a beautiful luxury car, but economic car. Yeah, fuel consumption is economy, but you have all the facilities. And we had so many long drives in USA, hundreds, 200-300 miles, and there are hotels every after few miles. You can take a exit and stay in a hotel, eat food. All restaurants are available, all the fast food. And we traveled, yeah, so much. And it has all the things that a good driver needs, cruise control. And USA in the highway, if you have driven, big roads, and you don't have to keep your leg on the pedal. There's a cruise control after. If, for example, highest speed is 70 miles per hour and they have a acceptance of 10%, so I used to set the speed at 76 miles an hour and press cruise control, and I could lift my leg, and I have to turn the car, but I don't have to keep. So, this is what is vision. And by taking risk, they have, South Korea has taken the risk of competing with European countries, producers of electronics and apparatus, knowing that it will take time for their goods to gain popularity. And within this period, their economy may collapse. But ultimately, they succeeded. And now, they are one of the highest seller of refrigerators and cars and things like that. Are sensitive to the environment and followers' needs. Charismatic leaders, have a keen eye to understand the followers and the environment. Exhibit behaviors that are out of ordinary. And charismatic, they have such unique way of behavior which is different, and that is what a visionary leader. If you tell me, sir, please differentiate charismatic, it seems to be the same thing with a different word. Charismatic leader also has a vision. He has to articulate. Again, you have a visionary leader. A leader who creates and articulates a realistic, credible, and attractive vision of the future that improves upon the present situation. So, charismatic leader, besides having a vision, they have a visionary leader, but he can also have the other charismas of his character, and he must have the ability all these beautiful colors in their mind. If they cannot paint it, understand their ability. I think 3-4 years back we museum, and I wanted to see Mona Lisa. It's a huge, and besides Mona Lisa, I think maybe top 10 of the top 30 paintings in the world is inside that museum, and in many expensive museums in different worlds. But in the room where they kept Mona Lisa, it was no other painting in that, giving honor to this painting because it is the most famous painting in the world. And it was, when it was painted, it was not of that value. You cannot take any photographs there, and he spent years like this hanging from the roof painting that, and ultimately he had a permanent physical disability. He lost his eyesight after that painting, because can you imagine 3 years you're upside down, you're painting, or how many years? It was more than a year for sure. Express the vision not just verbally but through behavior. A visionary leader, you say your words, but you must also be able to share your vision through your activities. Extend and apply the vision to different leadership contexts. This leadership context will be different, followers will be different, situation will be different, the country will be different, the organization will be different, but you should be able to implement your vision in any situation that you are, any type of followers or employees that are working under you. Our team leadership characteristics, team leadership, that's your team, and you have to be a team leader. In all the types of leadership that I'm saying, I don't say that a leader having visionary leadership not have charismatic leadership or cannot have team leadership. All these leadership has to be combined in a good leader. And the proportion of what style will depend on the situation, depend on the forward, depend on the circumstance. I hope I could make myself. It's not
Sir, can I have a question?
overfed in one point. Yes, please.
Hello. So can you hear me?
You want to say who has a question?
Sir, Sadi sir, this is Sadi sir. I have a question, sir. So,
Do you want
is
to
it
ask
like
me the
this that
question now?
charismatic, sir?
I think I have lost connection.
So, is it like this, like charismatic leaders like to dream much, where visionary leaders dreams, those dreams that are actually achievable? Like if I say like Elon Musk, he wants to colonize Mars right now. Uh, so I would say like, sir, he's a charismatic leader who dreams,
You're
like
getting
who have big
disconnected.
dreams.
Hello, sir. Hello.
স্যার কানেকশন মনে হয় ড্রপ করছে। I think he lost connection.
Got disconnected. Okay, is Sadi available?
Yes, sir.
What was your question?
So my question was that, to my understanding, sir, charismatic leaders are those who dream bigger than at present. Like Sir Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars right now, from now. Where visionary leaders are those who trying to and who are trying for those dreams. Those are attainable. Is it like that, sir?
Name of your question. I can't hear you. I don't know if others can hear you. Can all please mute your microphone so that I can hear him clearly? Kaisar. Okay, can you repeat the question? Sadi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is Sadi available?
Sir, I
Sir,
think he's having problem with his microphone. He's typing the question in.
Sir, Sadi is writing his question.
Okay, so let me continue. Or what we can do is we can go for 15 minutes break. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Let's go for 15 minutes break. It's very exhaustive. Talking is a very serious exercise. I don't know if you realize that or not. You know, listening I understand is very exhaustive, but talking is even more. So let's have a 15 minutes break. Let's come back at 9:05, and I'll listen to Sadi's question, or if he finishes writing, I'll see that then. So take a break, stop recording for the time being, and when I start the next second session, you can start recording again.
Okay, sir.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have a break.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
Pepsi or a Coke. Okay. Or a glass of water. Talking about charismatic leader, somebody had a question.
Sir, should I start recording?
Yes, please start recording. Tell me when you have started. Then I'll start talking.
Yes, sir. I don't know why today the recording is taking so long.
Have you received the recording of the last session?
Yes, sir. I have already received the recording
Okay.
for last
So
session.
it's recording properly.
Yeah, that was recorded. But I don't know why it is taking too long to start a recording.
Sir, I've written the questions in the chat.
Yeah, let's listen to your question. You have written it? I can see it on the message.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the chat, sir.
Sir, the recording has started.
Okay. Okay, regarding your question, well, I don't think it's exactly the way you are wanting to say that charismatic leaders have big dreams like Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars, but visionary leader should only concentrate on the near future. Well, you cannot really differentiate by comparing these, two matters. A visionary leader may also have charismatic characteristics, charismatic leadership, leadership qualities, and a charismatic leader will probably also have a visionary leader. You cannot differentiate these two by saying, one is a year into the future and the other is beyond that. You cannot define the two definitions like that. Uh, Charismatic leader is mostly about his personal quality that attracts people. Uh, a certain way of doing things done, where people happily does it for him, or are volunteer to support whatever a charismatic leader says. It's the magnetic effect of the quality of a leader. That is what is charismatic leader. It can be because of his smartness, because of his way of talking, because of his dress up, because of his impartiality, because of his knowledge. You become attracted towards certain leaders. You just want to be in and around those leaders. You want to listen to them. That is what is charismatic. A visionary leader can be charismatic but doesn't need to be charismatic. He doesn't need the full love and affection and the attraction of the employees. As long as the employees, his followers, listens to him to implement the vision that he has, which he could properly articulate, share with his employees to implement that. So I don't know if I could differentiate the definition. If not, we'll come back to this later. Team orientation. Okay, so must have a patience, being able to major aspects of team leadership is you have to give up authority, and we don't like to give up authority. We want to keep all the powers in our hand. Delegating is very difficult for leaders, but team leader must know how to delegate, must know will observe from a distance like a mentor, and he'll only intervene when it's absolutely necessary. Before that, he will not intervene. What is the team leader's job? Managing the team's external boundaries, making the correspondence with stakeholders outside the boundary of his own team. And he will facilitate the team process by being a coach, by coaching the team, by
Hello, sir. We cannot hear you
team, handling
properly.
disciplinary problems,
Your voice is breaking.
reviewing teams' individual performance,
Hello, sir.
here he manages conflict. We are human beings. We like reasons because yes.
Sir, we couldn't hear you properly because your voice was breaking. Hello? Oh,
Yes, can you hear me now?
yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Just a minute. Okay, so you'll be a conflict manager and you'll be a coach, like a coach of a team. You teach your team how to play the game, liaison with external constituencies, and also a troubleshooter. Now, this is very important. The types of managerial power. And understanding the various types of managerial power will be able to help you in understanding what type. I have been appointed by North BRAC University to teach you organizational behavior for this semester. I got a letter signed by the authority of BRAC University to teach you organizational behavior. So that is my legitimacy, and you all know that this is my legitimacy. I'll teach you. I'll set the questions. I'll see your exam scripts. I'll grade you, and I'll submit the result. That has many publications, has done a number of PhD, but he cannot come and take this class.
Hello.
Coercive power. At times, managers use this power, although this is not. At times, it's necessary, but it is not a good
Hello, sir.
of the employees.
Hello,
I'll
sir.
kill you. I'll beat you up. Yes.
Sir, there is some network problem. We couldn't hear you again.
Can't hear me?
Sir, your voice was breaking.
Yes.
The problem was that.
Sir, we couldn't hear you
Can you hear
since slide
me?
17.
Sudipto, can you hear me?
স্যার মাঝে মধ্যে শোনা যাচ্ছে, আবার মাঝে মধ্যে হলো ভয়েস ব্রেক করতেছে অনেক বেশি।
স্যার অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভিডিও
So,
ক্যামেরাটা
মাঝখানে
অন
কিছু
থাকলে
কিছু কথা কেটে গেছে।
স্যার ক্যামেরা অন থাকলে এই প্রবলেমটা বেশি হয় স্যার অ্যাকচুয়ালি।
ক্যামেরাটা অফ করে দে। অফ করে দে। Let me close the camera.
জি
You
স্যার,
can
নো প্রবলেম।
see me for the last time, for the time being.
Yes, sir, that will be better.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir. And can you please continue from
Yes,
slide
sir.
number 17, sir? Because I don't think
17.
we heard properly.
Okay, 17, I was saying that, as a team leader, you have to have patience, and you must have trust. The employees must have trust on you, and you must be able to delegate, give up authority. If you're a team leader, you have to understand that some decisions you have to leave at lower level. And you should only intervene when it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you should allow the teams to work. Your job as a team leader would be to communicate and keep connection with other stakeholders, other department, other section. And basically, as a team leader, you will simultaneously be a conflict manager. There will be conflict within employees working under you, because we are human beings. For official reason, for personal reason, there will be, conflict, and you have to resolve that. You have to act as a coach to teach the team how to play a better game, liaison with external constituencies, and also troubleshoot.
Sir, now we cannot see the slide.
You can't see the slide?
Yes, sir, we cannot see the slide.
Okay, let me see. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
As I said, that these are the 4 functions that you will be conducting as a team leader: conflict manager, coach, liaison of external constituencies, and troubleshooting. These are the types of managerial power. Legitimate power is your authorized power. If you're appointed by the authority, the office, to become a manager, you have legitimate power. I have been appointed to take this class on OB for this section, and I received a letter signed by the authority of BRAC University. So I have the legitimate power to take this class, to teach you, to set the exam questions, to see your scripts, and ultimately grade you. even if someone who is more knowledgeable about OB, who has many publications, who has a PhD, a number of PhD, he cannot come and teach you because he doesn't have the legitimate power. You can learn many things from him, but he doesn't have the legitimacy to teach you. I have the legitimacy to teach you. Coercive power at times is necessary for managers to show coercive power, but in most times you should avoid it. Coercive power is the power that you show to that you have to punish someone, put someone in fear. That is what is coercive power. Now, if you carry a pistol in your pocket and everybody knows that you have a pistol, they'll be afraid of you. You can bring it out and shoot them. You can threat them of losing their job, firing them, reducing their scale, demoting them. Any this is in many parts of Bangladesh, people rules society by using coercive power, by putting people into the fear, and it is more prominent in less developed countries, in the rural areas, even in the cities, whereas there is less rule of the law. People can take the advantage of forcing people to follow them by exerting coercive power. Reward power is the power to reward someone. This is also power. If you have a lot of money, if you give a lot of donations, if you give a lot of zakat, this is some kind of power. People will come to you, people will listen to you, people will follow you. If you are the manager and you have the ability to reward someone with a promotion, if you can recommend his promotion or increase of salary, that is also a power you have to reward someone, and that individual will be inspired to listen to you. So reward power is a positive power. You have the ability to reward someone, and that is how people are influenced towards you. Expert power is your power through your experience, through your expertise, through your knowledge, and that is a very important power in your office. You must have more knowledge, more wisdom, more experience than anyone else. That is your expert power. That is why people has to listen to you. That is why if a machine malfunctions, they have no alternative but to come to you and seek your advice as a how to fix it. The referent power is the power of a leader that arises because of a person's desirable or admired personal traits. Now, referent power is, let me explain it in a more simpler form. It's a power that you don't have, but you have access to that kind of power. You are nobody, but your uncle is the IGP of police or SP of one district, or he is the division commissioner somewhere, or the ENO somewhere, or a senior bureaucrat. So you try to explain others that you are also powerful because you are related to that individual, or that individual is your friend, that individual is your relative. So here you are trying to exert power by displaying the power of somebody else, which is not your power, it's somebody else's power. And this is very, very common in Bangladesh. If somebody is has a relative who is very powerful, before he introduces or mentions his name, so we try to refer others to make ourselves to seem more powerful. This is certain cross-cultural leadership findings. It is people, leaders from different parts of the world have certain idiosyncrasies, certain habits, certain nature which is common. Korean leaders are expected to be paternalistic, kill their employees like their children, and they admonish them, punish them whenever it's necessary. Arab leaders who show kindness or generosity without being asked to do so are seen by other Arabs as weak. So it's an Arabic culture, that if you are kind and generous to your employees, and they have not asked for this kindness and generosity, other Arabs will think that you are a weak leader. Showing kindness and generosity is a sign of weakness in the Arab community. Japanese leaders are expected to be humble and speak frequently. So they are, Japanese people always they're bowing, but they speak, and they're very cool Japanese people. They're very hardworking, they're very innovative, If you remember, a few years back when there was an accident in the nuclear power plant due to a tsunami, many people died, and there was, spread of radiation, and there was shortage of fuel in the gas stations, and people lined up to take gas, petrol for their car, and the lines were miles and miles long, and but nobody is pushing against anybody. Everybody is calm. Everybody sitting in their car and they're waiting for their turn patiently. But in Bangladesh, if you enter a gas station, it's such a fight there. Who will enter before whom? And nobody seems to have enough patience to wait for their turn. Scandinavian and Dutch leaders who single out individuals with public praise are likely to embarrass, not energize those individuals. So in Scandinavia and Holland, Dutch, Scandinavia is Sweden, Norway. Um, in those countries, if you praise someone in public, they are embarrassed. They don't like this praise. You may praise them individually, but if you praise them in public, they are not energized. Effective leader in Malaysia is expected to show compassion while using more of an autocratic than a participative style. So Malaysian leader, what they show compassion to their followers, but they prefer a more autocratic style than participative style. Effective German leaders are characterized by high performance orientation, low compassion, low self-protection, low team orientation, high autonomy, and high participation. The Germans are very serious people. I've worked with Germans in different occasions, and frankly speaking, when I worked with people around the world in a number of occasions, people from a certain country, certain area, they seem to have unique characteristics. All the French that I have worked with in different times, in different locations, similar characteristics. All the Koreans that I have worked with, say all the Singaporeans that I have worked with, I have done different training with. Very sincere, very hardworking, very devoted. Everybody is highly educated. Particularly our officers that I have served from Singapore Army. The Arabs have a unique quality. It is only in our subcontinent, I think, you cannot, differentiate a specific personality that we have. Our personalities vary so much. People are so different. But in other parts of the world, I saw that all Nigerians has seen similar characteristics, or all Senegalese have similar characteristics I have seen. But in our subcontinent, we have very varied personalities. So Germans are, very serious. They don't do much of humor. They only understand work. Although they are high in participation, they ask people their opinion, but again, they believe in some sort of autonomy. Angela Merkel, a great leader. She went on retirement. She said that I'll remain such, and then I'll go on retirement. And she led such a compassionate leader, such a honest leader. She was losing popularity because she allowed the immigrants to enter Germany. But she was so compassionate. She took the risk of losing popularity, but she still allowed refugees who were struggling for survival, who are trying to escape death and execution, and was seeking shelter in European countries like Germany. And she led a very simple life, in Germany. Once a journalist asked her that how many people works for you at home, how many workers do you have? And she said that I have only two workers. One is my husband, and the second one is me. And she used to go out one day a week with her husband. She used to walk down to the shopping mall, buy the groceries, hold it, carry it, and bring it back to office. And in serious times, economy of different countries, were affected, but Germany was quite stable throughout her leadership. Okay, this is the end. I will not talk about the other two slides. Have you all submitted, Dipto, is all the videos inside the link that you have given me?
Yes, sir.
So I'll get it there.
Yes, sir. You will get 39 videos there. Two of the students haven't submitted yet.
Why not? Who are they?
One of them is Shubha Bhai, and I couldn't find the other. If you give me the student list, then I can confirm the two names.
Okay,
The other
I'll
person.
I'll send you the student list on your WhatsApp just after this class.
Okay, sir. And another thing, there are actually 42 students in our section.
Yes.
But I have the email address for 41 student. At the beginning, the total number of student was 41. But after that, maybe one student has joined the class.
I also have a list of 41 students. I don't know who is the other person. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before that, I want to call out your names. Please respond. Dhrubashish Shen.
Yes, sir.
Are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ilhan Munir. Ilhan Munir, are you here? Ilhan Munir. Absent. Kaisarul Islam Shubho. Kaisarul Islam Shubho. Are you here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kaisarul Shubho, I saw you. Okay. Fahmida Ahmed Monica. Fahmida Ahmed
Yes,
Monica.
sir. Hello. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I saw you. Thank you. Galib Amin. Galib Amin. Galib Amin, are you here? Absent. Kaji Tawfiqul Islam. Kaji Tawfiqul Islam. Kaji Tawfiqul Islam. Kaji Setul. Shetul.
Present, sir.
Kaji Raisa.
জি স্যার স্যার আইডিটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি আমার আপুর আইডি দিয়ে মানে এন্টার করে ফেলেছি।
কেন এই সর্বনাশটা করে ফেললা? আচ্ছা, এনিওয়ে।
Sorry,
Maisha
sir.
Samiha Lamia.
Yes, sir.
Maisha, are you here? Okay.
Yes, sir.
My daughter's name is also Maisha, spelled differently. MD Zuhair Shams.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shahriar Onik.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Samir Sakir Siddiqui.
Yes, sir.
Asma Ahmed Liza. I saw, is this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Liza. Sabiha Tabassum Lima. Sabiha Tabassum Lima. Are you here? Sabiha Tabassum Lima, not here. Farhana Aziz.
Present, sir.
Okay. Eta ki? Tamanna Sharmin Queen.
Present, sir.
Okay. Sabiha Noreen.
Present, sir.
Lamia Niza. Lamia Niza. Are you here?
Sir, she was present, but I think there was a net problem.
লিজা নিজা, তোমার কি বোন নাকি?
No, sir.
It rhymes. Shah Imran Rakib. Shah Imran Rakib. Qazi Nusrat Alam.
Yes, sir.
Qazi Nusrat Alam Antor.
Yes, sir.
Shirajul Islam Chaudhry.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm present.
I got you. Rudaina Tasnuva.
Yes, sir.
Lubna Akhtar. Lubna Akhtar. Lubna acho?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
জি স্যার আছি।
Okay, good. Tomar, Bangla language is a very rich language. Our vocals are very clear. We have so many consonants, so many vowels, and in Bangla language, you can almost pronounce everything. If you go to an American and you tell your name, they will change your name. They will pronounce it as because they cannot pronounce all the difficult sounds that we make from inside. But Bangla language is very, very rich. And anything that you're told to make the sound, we are able to do that. এই জন্য আমরা কিন্তু সবার নাম মোটামুটি properly we can pronounce. But you see that if you go out, people will not be able to pronounce your name properly. তখন চর মারতে ইচ্ছা করে. Okay. Nanfuka Mili.
Present,
Nanfuka Mili.
sir.
Where are you from, my dear?
I'm from Uganda.
Uganda, okay. You can hear me? Are you attending all my classes?
Yes, sir.
Oh, is my English okay? Can you understand in full?
Very well.
Wonderful. Nanfuka is a local name of Uganda. What does it mean?
Yes, sir. Sir, like for us, we have clans.
Excuse me?
For us, we have clans. So my name like follows into a certain clan.
A clan, okay. What does Nanfuka mean? Does it have any meaning?
No.
Okay. SK Moinur Rahman. Okay. Shudipta Kumar Dhali.
Yes, sir.
Syed Tahmid Rahman.
Yes, sir. Present.
Fatima Tuz Zohra.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Nusrat Jahan Cynthia.
Yes, sir.
Maria Tina Gomez. Maria Tina Gomez. Are you here? Maria Tina Gomez, not here. Syed Afia Khanam.
Present, sir.
Afia, okay. Hasnat Jahan Happy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Afia Farzana. We have two Afias. Afia Farzana. Afia Farzana. Absent. Sadnan Kabir. Sadnan Kabir. Absent. Fahimur Rahman. Fahimur Rahman. Fahimur Rahman. Saqib Mahmood. Saqib Mahmood. Saqib Mahmood. কি হলো সব কেউ তো নাই দেখি মাহবুব শাহরিয়ার
Present, sir.
ওকে সাকিব আই গট ইউ তোমার মাইক্রোফোনে কি সমস্যা মাহবুব শাহরিয়ার ওকে
Sir, I'm present.
সাদিয়া হোসেন
Present, sir.
okay fix your microphone before the next class Saqib Sabbir Hussain
Present, sir.
Sharmin Shejuti
Present, sir.
এটা কি ইমরান কি লিখলো আব্দুল খায়ের মোহাম্মদ ফজলুর রহমান
Sir, present.
okay Sadi Mohammad Ridoy okay you're present
Present, sir.
okay is there anybody who I have not okay Afia Farzana
Sir, present, sir.
Imran Rakib, sir.
Sir, network problem.
ইমরান তোমার নাম কি ইমরান কি
Yes, sir. Shah Imran Rakib, sir.
Shah Imran,
I'm in
okay.
village, sir. That's why I'm facing internet problem, sir.
তাই না?
Sir,
কোন village?
Afia Farzana.
Afia Farzana, I got you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Sir, this is Lamia Niza.
নাম নিজা, তুমি কই গেছিলা?
Sir, I was having internet problems.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you, sir.
Your friend Lisa was advocating that you are present. I
Yes,
half
sir, I
believed her.
was.
I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else's name I did not mention? Anybody? Okay. You can stop recording now, Sudipto.
স্যার আমারটা
Okay,
কি
sir.
দিয়েছেন স্যার? শাহিমরান রাকিব স্যার।
হ্যাঁ দিয়েছি।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Okay, stop recording now. Now,
স্যার গালিব আমিন প্রেজেন্ট।
Galib, where had you been?
স্যার আই ওয়াজ আউট ফর 1 মিনিট ডিসকানেকশন।
ওই 1 মিনিটে আমি ডাকলাম। How bad of me. আচ্ছা, এখনো পাই নাই হচ্ছে এলহান মুনির, কাজী তৌফিকুল ইসলাম, সাবিহা তাবাসসুম লিমা, who else? Maria Tina Gomez, Sadnan Kabir, Fahimur Rahman. These are the people I did not get. Okay, I'll see your videos today. You will have a quiz next during next class. And the syllabus is business communication, the second chapter. The quiz will be from the second chapter, and I may take the quiz at the beginning of the class or during the break or after the class. Only one chapter, business communication, and you know that the question will be conceptual. You can keep the print of the PowerPoint in front of you, does not matter, but you really have to understand the question and answer properly to get full marks. So tomorrow we'll have a quiz. And Shudipto, tumra ki have you started making the groups for the group presentation?
Yeah, I have already made a group.
How many group?
Sir, I haven't collected all the groups names, but
Okay.
if you say, then I can.
Okay, please collect the group names and submit it to me before the next class. Minimum 5 members, maximum 6 members, male female combination, and 1 person should be working at least. That is the criteria of forming the group. Please make your groups. You can remain in this page for a few more minutes. Make your groups and send the list to Shudipto, and he'll send me a compiled list. And we'll talk detail about the group presentation subsequently. It carries 25 marks. It carries a lot of mark, and in fact, it's very important event for all of you. At times, when I compile the overall result, I try to see that how they have done in the group presentation. Some team doing very well, I said that no, they deserve to get an A, and I increase their grades. And some groups not doing well, even if they get an A, I downgrade it. Because I think communication and presentation skill is a very important skill of organizational behavior. You need to have that to implement organizational behavior. So a lot of weightage, lot of importance given to this group presentation. So start working. Although I have only taken a few chapters on OB, subsequently I'll take many more chapters and try to see these practices in the organization that you have taken into account for the research, and prepare well. You don't have to submit a research paper, only a PowerPoint presentation, and you have to speak. All members have to speak. And I'll give you the date of the presentation. Maybe on the second last class. We'll have the final exam on the last class, and maybe we'll have this presentation on the second last class. Okay, that's all for today. If you have anything to ask me, any clarification, Raisa?
স্যার আমি বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যেহেতু 41 মেম্বার্স ক্লাসে, তো এক একটা গ্রুপে 6 জন করে হলে তো দেখা যাচ্ছে যে কিছু 3 জন বেশি হয়ে যায়। সেক্ষেত্রে কি আমরা 7 পার্সনে কি গ্রুপ করতে পারবো?
I don't know how you have done your math. Do you want me to show you 41 member কিভাবে 5 6 এর মধ্যে লিমিট করা যায়? So minimum 5, maximum 6, and it can be done. Exceptional case এ 4 জন করা যাবে, 7 জন করা যাবে না। Raisa?
ওকে স্যার।
Okay?
ওকে স্যার।
Afia? Afia, do you have anything to ask me?
No, sir.
Your phone is unmuted, that's why. Anybody else has anything to ask me?
Sir, this side, sir. আমাদের স্যার এক্সামটা কি স্যার খাতায় লিখবো নাকি স্যার আমরা ওয়ার্ডে টাইপ করে করব স্যার?
No, you'll write it down. Please keep paper and pen ready. You have to write it in manuscript and then take a photograph and send it to me.
Yes, sir,
And,
that is better because I don't know about others. My typing speed is not very good and it is very difficult to manage time.
Okay, not because that you are bad in typing, but I have other reasons why you have to give the answer in a manuscript, handwritten. I prefer that. Even the final exam, mid-track exam, all the exams will be manuscript. You have to write it, take a photograph. You just have to ensure in the quiz it should not be more than 1 or 2 pages. But in the final exam, you just have to ensure that you write the page numbers in bold, characters so that I can see it. Because if there are no page numbers, it's very difficult to relate the answer from one question to the other. Okay, we'll talk about the major exams later. So for the time being, I'll email the PowerPoint presentation of this chapter and the subsequent few chapters. I want the name of the groups before next class and prepare for the quiz during the next class.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have one question.
Yes,
Sir, can I speak?
please.
Sir, how do we choose our group members? ID wise আসবে স্যার নাকি we can choose ourselves?
You have to choose by yourselves. You can choose your own partners. I have given certain limitation. There has to be at least one male or one female in each group. One person should be a working person. And if we have enough overseas students, each group should have one overseas student. In my last class, I had 10 to 12 overseas students. Well, I don't think we have that many in this class. And the minimum number of members will be 5 and maximum 6. And you can do it on this side. Or you can, exchange messages on the WhatsApp group. Find out your own way to find your, unfortunately, this is an online semester. You don't see each other, but I'm sure you know each other. You maybe have attended class together. So find your own group. And if you can't find a group, ask Shudipto, the captain, to help you out. At times he can get involved and find the solution for you.
Thank you, sir.
স্যার আজকে স্লাইডটা কি মেইল করে দিবেন না আমাদের?
আমি এখনই দেবো।
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay. Anything else?
Sir, today we have studied the leadership chapter. Can you give any example, like what kind of question may come from this chapter? Because most of the leadership qualities or the classification are kind of similar type, and sometimes when I try to memorize it actually ভুলে যাই বা কিছু মাঝে মধ্যে যখন এরকম মন রাখতে যাই বা কিছু স্পেসিফিক ভাবে মন রাখা যায় না।
I'll send the PowerPoints today. তোমরা আগে পাঠানো দিচ্ছিল. You must keep the PowerPoint presentation printed in front of you, and you should write down the points that I say when I take the class. That will help you to remember. And questions will be, I told you, it's conceptual. Nothing will be, you'll not be told to reproduce something that is written on the PowerPoint presentation. You have to really understand that point, and I'll ask you to explain it, or I'll ask you to give some examples, things like that.
So our exams will be from chapter 2, importance of managing communication, right?
Yes.
Oh, sir, our exam time ta?
It will be within the exam time. I'll tell you when I'll take the exam. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I'll decide based on the length of the question and the answer.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Take care.
Hello, sir. I am Mariatina Gomez. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where had you been?
Oh, so sorry, sir. I have network problem. That's why I have joined again. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm giving you present.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And network is a serious problem. It happens to me as well. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Sir, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Sir, one more question, please.
Please.
Sir, আমাদের MCQ type question হবে নাকি fill in the blanks, or how many questions will be there, or the platform will be the box, or I want to know the platform because the other exam we had held before we had to present at box.
Right. This will be a conceptual question. In fact, I said